In the midst of all that we're experiencing right now in our world, all the hate, all the division, all the hurt, the sickness, we need a touch from God. We need a revival. And so that's why we pray. That's why we
The
pray.
earnest prayer of a righteous person has great power and produces wonderful results. The earnest prayer, the sincere prayer, the intent prayer, the passionate prayer of a righteous person. Not a perfect person, so don't think if you're listening to this verse, it doesn't apply to me because I'm not in the righteousness category. No. A righteous person is one who has been saved by Jesus and who is following Jesus. If that's you, this verse is about you. James is talking about your prayers, my prayers, Jeff, your prayers, our prayers being powerful. Because prayer isn't about being religious.
Right.
It's about being in relationship with the living God. And so James wants to make this point clear, and he goes on in verses 17 and 18 and says, Elijah was as human as we are, and yet when he prayed earnestly that no rain would fall, no rain fell for 3.5 years. Then when he prayed again, the sky sent down rain, and the earth began to yield its crops. Now, some of you may know who Elijah was. But if you don't, Elijah was chosen by James as the example because Elijah was one of the greatest prophets in the history of Israel. Yeah. He spoke truth to power. He opposed the prophets of Baal in this crazy fire throwdown and battle. He never died. He was carried to heaven on chariots of fire. He was a legend, a demigod. He was the GOAT. Okay, he was the greatest of all time. Yeah. And yet what does James say we are like to him? He says, he's just as human as we are.
Right.
Elijah's just as human as we are. And so James is saying, it's not just the anointed who have power in prayer. It's not just the prophets who have power in prayer. It's not just the pastors. It's not just the leaders. It's not just the eloquent or the Bible scholar or the theologian or the religious person. You have power in prayer. Your prayers matter to God.